Please turn to page 116. We're going to be talking about sentence variety today. So we're getting near the end of the semester. I didn't want you to worry about this near the first part of the class. But one of the things I really focus on toward the end of the semester is more than just correctness in your writing, but writing in a style that is interesting, to have your language sing a little bit when you write. And it's easy to do. It's not that complicated. We get kind of in a rut, we get in a habit, we write all of our sentences the same way. And there are some really nice techniques that you can use and that we're going to be talking about the last part of the semester to make your writing a little more interesting. So here's the first thing. We're going to talk sentence variety. If you take a look, and I'm not going to read all of these sentences, but it could take too long, but if you take a look at the bottom of 116 and over to the top of 117, there are 7 sentences there. And they're a single paragraph that I took from another essay. And what I find fascinating about this person, this is a person that got paid money to write. So this is a paid professional writer who knows how to use English. And if you'll notice, as you walk your way through this essay, there are 3 things that I mentioned that you can use to gain some sentence variety. One is the length of the sentence. Change the length of the sentence. Change it not just because you think, oh, it's about time to change my sentence length. Create a longer sentence when you want to indicate something that's a more complex issue, or something that took a lot of time, or something that was very difficult to do. You write a long sentence and you make the reader work a little bit to get through the sentence. They'll kind of reflect what it is you're writing about. So you can change your sentence length. Short sentences have some punch, have some impact. Longer sentences can develop a longer thought. Second thing you can do is different grammatical structure. So what am I talking about there? Things like simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. What are the differences? Real fast. By the way, the material is in here that talks about different kinds of sentences. The English 10 textbook that I've been sending out to people, a PDF form, it talks about those 3 kinds of sentences. A simple sentence has one idea and one verb. So the dog barked. That's a simple sentence. Compound sentence is one set of ideas with a verb and another set of a subject and a verb. So you put them together and you get something like this. The dog barked and the cat howled. Can a cat howl? Maybe meowed. Okay. The dog barked and the cat meowed. Notice you have dog bark, you have one set of subjects and verbs, then you have another one attached to it with the word and, the cat meowed. So you have dog bark, cat meowed, put them together. That's no longer a simple sentence, it's actually 2 simple sentences, isn't it? Connected with the and. Then you have something called complex sentences. For that you can use words like because and if and when and since and while and which and who. There's a ton of them that you can use. So if you say something like, when the cat barked, comma, her owner came to the door. Okay, so when the dog barked. So these are 3 kinds of sentences. And use them a lot. Don't just stick with the simple sentences. That's when you're in grade school. I came home, period. I ate dinner, period. I watched TV, period. I mean, you could write that way. That's correct. It's not incorrect English, but it's not very interesting. So try some complex sentences. Try some compound sentences. Use a semicolon occasionally. The third kind of sentence variety you can get is change the beginnings of the sentences. We're in a habit in English, with our language, to start with our subject first. The dog barked. My car isn't running very well. The teacher was angry at the class, right? So you have a subject first, subject first, subject first. It doesn't have to be that way. There are a lot of things you can do differently than that. In fact, if you flip back just a page, look at page 114, and I actually have you try your hand at writing these different ways. For example, take a look at number 4 on page 114. You can change your sentence openings. Look at this. Try an adjective. Angry yet determined. There's no subject there. There's a comma, and now we meet the subject, he. Something else you can do is, I'm still on page 114, under number 4, sentence openings, you might try participles. You say, well, what's a participle? It's just an ing verb. But put them out by themselves. Don't just say, she was working. Now that's an ing verb, but that's not what I'm talking about. You move them up to the beginning of the sentence. You get something like this. Hoping to do well in the final, he took his seat. Who's doing the hoping? He, but it's not right next to he was hoping. It's not that way. The he took his seat is pushed off toward the end of the sentence, and the ing is at the beginning. So you're just doing some different kinds of sentence openers. So read the rest of that and try your hand at some of those kinds of things. So that's one kind of sentence variety. And so we've talked about sentence openings, sentence types, long and short sentences. The other thing I wanted to cover today is the bottom of 114 over the top of 115, and it's called emphatic sentences. So what are we talking about, an emphatic sentence? There are certain places that you'll get more emphasis if you put your main idea, and that's going to be either at the beginning or at the end of a sentence. So here's an example, bottom of the page, number 1. Maybe you begin with an important idea like this. You know what? Let me show you some incorrect ways, and we'll talk about correct ways. So rewrite this. If the stockholders agree, the company will pay a dividend. Well, what's the important part of that sentence? Money. A dividend is coming. So why not move that to the beginning and say, the company will pay a dividend if the stockholders agree. So the emphasis is right at the very beginning. They're going to pay some money. Look at the second example. There's an evil presence in this room. Well, what's the key part there? An evil presence. So I won't fix this one for you. I'll let you do it, but see if you can move evil presence to the beginning of the sentence and rewrite it so that gets the emphasis. Now, on the other hand, you can put your main idea at the end. So I said at the bottom of the page here, try using a colon or a dash. That's always really effective. So you say something like this. This semester I have 2 goals. Colon, dash. What are they? And they're going to get a special emphasis because of the dash or the colon is separating that from the rest of the sentence. It's going to get like a spotlight on it. If you say something like this, only one thing drives me crazy. Dash, colon, separation, and whatever it is, you put that out there and people are going to notice that. All right, so I'm going to have you put some of these things together on page 115. For example, I'm going to have you try out some of these devices by putting these little baby sentences together. It's called sentence combining. Maybe you've done it before. If not, just give me a second to explain it. You take these, do you see them? There are 36 short sentences on page 115. These sound like elementary school writings. So what you do is you can move sentences around, you can change words, you can drop some, you can move them around, but you don't want to end up with 36 sentences when you're done. You'll probably get 10, 12, maybe 13 sentences. And so let's just try it out. I'll do a few of them for you and let you begin thinking about it. So the first sentence says, the potter sits at his wheel. Okay. Second sentence says he's skilled. The third sentence says he works his clay. Now, is there any way that you could get all of those together and get them together in some kind of way that's interesting, a sentence style that's pleasing? Well, here's one possibility. You go to that third sentence. How about an ing participle? That's just taking the verb and turning it into a participle. So you say, oh, let's see, where's the verb? Works. So if you start off working his clay, comma, what kind of potter is he? We find out in sentence 2, he's skilled. So why don't we put skilled in with the first sentence there? So the whole thing all together would look maybe like this. Working his clay, comma, the skilled potter sits at his wheel. So you took 3 sentences, kind of baby, boring sentences, and you put them together with a little bit of style. So that's what you're going to do for the rest of those. And I hope that makes sense. And again, the idea is that this will carry over and you will become more skilled at these kind of style devices. They're not complicated, are they? Different sentence lengths, different kind of sentence, and different sentence openers. And putting your main idea either at the beginning or the end. Try messing around with colons and dashes and see what happens.